I'll spare you all the shitty intro and just get right into it. I posted on my Instagram story for you to ask me questions for a Q&A. I'm doing it for two reasons. Number one, obviously, I do have a beautiful fan base right now, even though it's small. You guys are obviously somewhat curious about me given the fact that you even asked questions. So I still want to do it to let you guys know about me more. Number two is also really important, and that is one of my favorite things to do is to go back and look at, people that I admire, like musicians or actors or athletes, whatever, and go back and look at like their old interviews and stuff. I find it really interesting because you get like the perspective of where they're at that time. I think it's really cool. So I want this to be like when this channel does blow up, I want people to be able to come back and see where I was at this time and like my mindset. I'm even gonna read off the number of subscribers I have just so you can gauge like the time that this is. So currently filming this video, I have 1,547 subscribers on YouTube. Let's get into the first question. Levi Queen 5 asks, toe pics with 4 question marks. When I said to ask questions on Instagram, that was the first question I got, and I was like, fuck, this is not gonna be good. You have to pay for that shit, by the way. Toe pics aren't cheap. Tacky Danny asks, how much pube hair do you have? None right now. I keep that shit clean. On the Texas trip, it did get pretty long. I didn't bring my pube shaver with me, so I was kind of like a Sasquatch down there. G.O.T. Lep asks, what's your favorite content to make? Contrary to a lot of people that do like the style of videos that I do, I really don't like filming in public all that much. I especially don't like the ones where you piss people off. Like, I know it seems like from like the Astros video and shit, it may seem like I really fucking enjoy it, and it's okay. It's like there's humor in it, but for the most part it just kind of makes me anxious. It's still funny, so I still do it, but there are aspects of it that I like. My favorite type of content to make, probably just like when there's a good day and you're going out and doing stuff and you're actually like doing interesting stuff. It's not like you're just fucking like going into Walmart and crashing carts into stacks of water and shit. And that's why I also like the road trips a lot. So probably like the going on trips and filming, that's probably my favorite shit. Yanni.db asks, tits or ass? Ass, 100%, not even a question. If you say tits, you should be put on like a terrorist watch list or something. Seb Likes Cats asks, what did you get your degree in? Respecting women. Elliot Was Taken asks, basic, but what is your favorite food? My favorite food is actually, I just discovered it this year. Actually this month on my birthday, June 7th. I went to this place. It's literally right by my apartment. It's like a Mexican restaurant called La Casita. It's so good. I couldn't believe how good it was. Like, I could eat that every day for the rest of my life. Not even kidding. WTF is Almonds asks, favorite movie? I'm not a big movie watcher, believe it or not, but my 2 favorite movies are probably Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Breakfast Club. The only movie that ever made me cry was Miracle on Ice. I know it's like a movie about hockey, like why the fuck did it make you cry? But the part that made me cry was when they finally, like the US Olympic hockey team finally beat the Soviet team after like years of the Soviet team being like unbeatable basically. And the coach, Herb Brooks, after the USA won, he like went into this like hallway and by himself and just like kind of like folded up and started crying. That shit made me cry because it was like all of that like hard work that he put in, and a lot of it nobody ever saw, like all the shit he did behind the scenes and how badly he wanted it, and when it all fucking like came true, you like can't contain yourself. I feel like that's gonna happen with me, honestly. Like, I have no doubt that when the blow up moment for me finally comes, I'm gonna break down and cry like a little bitch, because just like I said, all the shit that happens behind the scenes that nobody sees, the internal conflict that you have, and just like the doubts that you have and how bad you want it and all the work you put in, and just like you're kind of being like on an island just like by yourself, just really trying to make this thing happen. And when it finally fucking happens, like how bad I want it to happen, I guarantee you I'm gonna break down crying. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Drew Longley asks, penis length? I find that ironic that your last name is Longley. My penis is definitely average. I'm not one of those dudes that like tries to like hype up their penis. It's average. There's nothing to write home about, but it gets the job done. Olivia Berkey asks, weirdest name to moan in bed? Probably Olivia. Ronan Sulliv asks, favorite high school memory? I don't have that many favorite high school memories. I tried to sell an empty pizza box to this kid, right? And I had no idea that he had like a minor mental issue, and I tried to sell him an empty pizza box, which ultimately led me to getting suspended for 2 days. Chris Kenzela asks, thoughts on high school girlfriends? Waste of time, complete waste of time, not even a question, but it can be lots of fun and it can teach you a lot. In the grand scheme of things, obviously, they're a total waste of time. Like anybody outside of high school would tell you that. But it's lots of fun, lots of drama. The drama keeps it fun. Like when shit ends in high school, like when your relationship ends, you think the world's like crumbling. You think like the sky's falling on you. Parker asks, favorite Oasis track? If you don't know, Oasis is my favorite band. They're fucking amazing. I like the sound of them, the look, the attitude, everything about Oasis is amazing to me. I couldn't pick a favorite song, to be honest. I like them all. My favorite current one is Stay Young. Frostbite Chris asks, would you want to have kids when you're older? Yeah, definitely. I do want to have kids eventually, but not for a long time. I could not have a kid right now. I can't even imagine. I can barely keep track of where I left my keys. Cody Carr asks, what's your favorite thing/activity to do by yourself? I mean, jacking off is always like a default. It's always fun, but I have been doing Muay Thai recently, which is like a martial art. It's like Thai boxing. It's been a shit ton of fun. I do that by myself. The first time you walk into the gym, it's really awkward because there's a bunch of dudes kicking people in the head and throwing punches and shit, and you're like, what am I doing here? I want to ultimately get to a place where I know in my head that if somebody fucks with me, I could just like, grab them in the clinch and slam them on the ground and then like punt them in the head while they're falling to the ground. That type of shit comforts me. Just like to know like I have the ability to do that if needed. Like I would never go out and start a fight, but I want to know I could like knock out somebody's orbital bone like if I had to do it. Charlie Moss asks, are you planning to commit to YouTube full time? Sorry if you've already answered. Charlie, you don't have to apologize for asking a question, and you shouldn't apologize for asking questions because that's the sign of somebody that's not sure of themselves. But to answer your question, yes, I'm planning to commit to YouTube full time. Haza Stay asks, your personality type. I'd say I'm very observant, overthinker. I overthink a lot, and I pick up on a lot of like subtle things that happen. And sometimes I create like stories about them in my head that might not even be true. The resourceful part of me is I have a very strong, almost like to a fault, belief in myself. It's hard to convince me that I can't do something, which can be good and bad. I also have problems following like people telling me what to do sometimes, and that just stems from stuff when I was younger. Like I get irritated when people tell me what to do quickly, which I know is not a good thing, but it's just who I am. Matt Hamill asks, what's the whitest thing you ever did? That's a good question. Probably just like whenever I go to like dance clubs, I can't dance at all. I can't dance for shit, so I'm sure I look like your fucking uncle in the backyard. Die I4esque asks, what's the most uncommon situation you've been in? That's another good question. YouTube has led me to some uncommon situations to make content. The first video we ever did, I brought like a live snake into a university lecture to do a prank. That was pretty uncommon, and It kind of shook the room up a little bit. I snuck into the St. Paul City Council to give a speech about making Highway to the Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Yeah, Highway to the Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins as the state theme song for Minnesota. They stopped me mid-speech when I was trying to give it. They kicked me out. Sebastian Scott asks, what made you start YouTube? I love the process of like planning something out in your head, like coming up with an idea in your head for a video and then seeing the end product of what you've made. That part I like a lot, when you're finally done editing all that shit and you get to watch it. Like I'll sit and watch it like 20 times over and over again. I love that shit. What made me start it was basically like I've always been drawn to like freedom and just being able to do what I want, and that's like the type of career I want to work towards. And I found that video is one of like the few things that I'm actually like good at in that sense, that I could really do something with. And once I started to have a little bit of success on it, I just kind of locked in on like video and just entertainment in general. Like I've always loved to entertain people, make them laugh. Like that's always been something that makes me happy. Caleb asks, what do you define as success? How much money you have, Caleb? No, I honestly don't know. It's like, for me, it's probably once I can like make a living off of just doing what I want and just being happy. I mean, naturally, I'm not a very happy person. Like just walking around, I'm not usually all that happy. So I've been working on it recently, trying to like fucking find that happy spot. But probably freedom and being happy are the two things that I would define as success for myself. Daniel Kratoska asks, best advice for a sophomore in college? Yes. First of all, know what you're doing before you go to college. Don't make the mistake that I did of not knowing anything about majors or classes or credits and all that. Like, know what you're doing, because if you don't, you're gonna take a bunch of unnecessary classes and then you're gonna pay for those classes later, which is exactly what happened to me. I took a bunch of classes that I didn't even use, didn't even apply to my major or anything. As a sophomore, really know what you're doing by then. People are gonna be like, well, there's really no rush. You have so much time. You do have time, but it's like money isn't fucking infinite. You don't want to be paying for stuff that you're not going to use. And then just like enjoy it, like soak it up. Because once it's done, you'll realize like, damn, that was actually pretty fun. Once it's gone, you'll miss it, is all I'm saying. But that applies to most things in life. Like, we always miss the past, and that applies to a lot of things, even good and bad. Freshie 2.0 asks or says, yo, love the vids. They're so fucking funny. Where are you planning to be next? You meant to say planning, you said planning, but thank you very much. I just want to keep putting out content and just keep getting bigger. Keep seeing like things climb, really. That's what I want. As long as there's growth, I'm good with that. It will be slow at times and then it will be fast at times. So the important thing is to be consistent. And that's really what I'm focused on right now. Simply Wasian asks, or he says, I hope life is going good. And I know it's not really that deep of a question, but how is life? Thank you for the question. I'd say life is all right. I'm not gonna lie and say it's fantastic right now. For me, personally, obviously it's like, I have a lot to be grateful for, but there's a lot of like internal things that I need to work through, which the important part is I'm taking steps to do so. Like I'm going to therapy and then Muay Thai and things like that to like kind of try to work through these things. Petrus Polo asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Hopefully having a successful like channel. I know we have like merch designs in the works and things like that, like getting those out, making good shit, like good stuff that I would want to wear myself, making it like a brand, like a cool brand that people want to be a part of. Like I don't want to do some lame shit. That's why I'm doing it so slow. That's why I've passed on so many brand opportunities and ad things and promos and shit like that, just because I want to keep the integrity and build it slowly so it's a thing that people want to be a part of. Like, I don't want to make it corny. I'm gonna have to put more money in than I get out of it, and I understand that, and that's the way it's gonna be for a while, and you just gotta like work through it. But I like have faith that in 5 years it should be in a better place where it's turned into this idea that I have in my head, and that's what I hope it turns into, and I'm confident it will turn into that. Ashton Staples asks, favorite song? My favorite song of all time is Love by Kid Cudi. That song always gets me emotional. It's a tearjerker. It's just relatable because it's like I've had many moments of like loneliness, and even now there's those moments still happen. So he says like in all of the stories the hero gets lonely, and that's like very true to me, because it's like if you're gonna go after something worthwhile, you're gonna get lonely while you're doing it. Anything worth going for has those moments, and he says now it's the time, show them what you're made of. So you just gotta keep pushing through it. That's how I feel a lot of the time. A lot of the time it's just like I tell myself like just to keep just pushing through it, like put your head down and just keep going, and you know, something will happen eventually. You just gotta keep the faith, I guess. The official Shimoni asks, where's our King Loaf going next? I appreciate you calling me a king. I like to think that because I try to do good things, and I try to work hard and try to be a good person and move in resourceful directions, I like to think that I'm on the way to something good. Sock41 asks, did you get any death threats or outstanding comments when you were trashing the Astros? Yes, I did. I got quite a few. The big one was the comments like, man, if I would have seen you there, I would have fucked you up, man. I would beat your ass. It's hilarious because it's like, I probably talked shit to like 700 people that day. And many of them were much bigger and much scarier looking than the dudes commenting this stuff, and nobody did anything. So I mean, maybe I got lucky. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that. I think like being out there for like 4 hours or however long we were out there and talking to nonstop people coming through, I think that's a big enough sample size that it's like, okay, maybe people kind of say this stuff on the internet, but they don't really mean it, because by the look of these comments some of the comments that I got, a lot of them were funny, but by the look of some of the comments that I got, I should probably be dead by now. Jonah Akangwu asks, was the Chick-fil-A interview real? Yes, everything on my channel is real. I don't do any of that dumbass fake shit. It was a surprisingly fast process to get that interview though, because I literally just I made this email and then typed out like a fake resume and just applied to Chick-fil-A's around the area. I probably applied to 7 or 8 before I got that interview, so I'm glad we got Janine. She was hilarious. ChickfilA _actual, that's funny that name comes right after that question, asks, do you own Dogecoin? No, I do not. Not at the moment. I have before. I bought some of that kind of like as like a meme, and then I sold it. I made like $70 and then got rid of it. Jamie asks, what is the hardest thing you've ever gone through and how did you overcome it? Well, I'm not good at sharing that type of stuff, which is one of the reasons I signed up for therapy, which starts in next month. But people turning against you is the overall thing that has troubled me throughout my life. And to get through it, I mean, you really have to go inside and just be like, you have to find something to throw yourself into completely, which when I was 16, it was weightlifting. I became obsessed with that. And then, I mean, now getting into video and entertainment, I've become obsessed. I just get obsessed with things, and you, like, not obsessed in a bad way, but a way where you can just completely throw yourself into that. And then it kind of helps you like have more of a purpose than, and just like getting out of getting out of the arena of relying on other people for happiness and to fulfill you. Now you have like a mission that sort of fulfills you, and just the process of going after that is gratifying. And that's why I become like fixated on different things. Like Muay Thai, I know I'm gonna become like obsessed with that just because that's my personality. I think that's a good thing. As long as you're doing it in resourceful ways. If you're throwing yourself into drugs and that shit, like that's probably not gonna end too well. You just gotta find something like a passion to really, really lock into and go after. That's how you get through that type of shit. Scooter asks, are you done with TikTok completely or are you gonna do both? TikTok has this bad habit of consistently slamming a 12-incher right between my ass cheeks. Like they take down all my videos. They've banned my account before. So yeah, I'm done with TikTok. I hate TikTok. I'm grateful that TikTok was my first kind of like intro to blowing up, I guess, or success on social media. So I love that part of it. I love the people I've met, the fans that I've got through it. I love all that shit. But the app itself, the platform is run so horribly. The way that app is run is just unbearable to me. Allison asks, how old are you? What sports do you like? Also, Rogan 2024. I'm 21. I like hockey and baseball because those are the two I played growing up. Rogan 2024. We don't need someone tripping on DMT trying to fucking run the country. Ian Christie asks, are you ever going to do a meet and greet? I would love to do a meet and greet. That's something that couldn't happen until there are people that want to meet and greet though. So I have to get like bigger, like just keep growing. And yeah, I would absolutely like love to do that type of shit, like meet you people and hopefully in the future one day. Jonathan W asks, what's your favorite fast food place? I like them all. I'll never outgrow the fast food shit. Like obviously I'm not gonna be fucking eating there every day because you gotta be healthy. But I like chicken a lot, so KFC's really good. Taco Bell, McDonald's, classic, all of them. I did work at Burger King though. That's the one place. I'll still eat there, but it's like, that's the last option because I saw some unspeakable things when I worked at Burger King. That's it. Thanks for the questions, everyone. Consider this more of like an off week video. Obviously, I wanted to do this video a lot. Like this is important to me, but there was obviously no like real action in the video, which I get. But I do have some really good shit planned. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.